Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that I miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh.
This forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon. Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's our sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn focus.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the show. Let's get ready to rumble. What a beautiful October surprise. It is October the 26th, 2021. Ground of the Porches, Bonjour, I think I learned a few foreign languages. Welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, they're still on Charlton and Big C Pictures, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all over the world. Just say Google, Alexa, actually about 17 different podcast applications. Just say Google, Alexa, or Spotify, or you could also say iHeartRadio podcast, speaker podcast, Castbox, Deezer podcast, Podcast Addict. I feel like I got a new toy, Stitcher, Luminary Radio Line. All friend level one, welcome to the show. Let's get ready to rumble. I love my Big Three Sports introduction. I'm just trying all type of different things now because the good boys that sold me this new application, it didn't come with instructions. You can also follow Big Three Sports on television, on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, all spread level war. As I say, I love saying you can follow Big T Sports all over the universe. Really appreciate that. I will never stop saying thank you to follow Big T Sports. I also thank my son Malcolm, who gives me NBA stats. He's all over. He has a lot of knowledge on what's going on in the world of the NBA basketball universe. Really appreciate that. And then my daughter Daisy, she's helped me set up for sporting events when college coaches are coming into town, and she would help me set up for that. Really appreciate that. And then Big C with his great wealth of knowledge all over the universe. Really appreciate that. You know, I want to say we have a crisis hotline, and I always want to make sure that I honor our veterans. We have a crisis hotline, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. You can also go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones. I want to say, give them some praise. Come on, give them praise. Don't be waiting now. I know I produce the show. I also do the editing of the show, the script writing, the commercials, the sound effects. Excuse me, did I break the concentration? All that's free on Love and War. I upload to 17 podcast applications. 18 is on the way. And then 4 TV applications also. So I really appreciate that. Producing the show. I don't have a teleprompter in my ear. All I got is a little bit of earwax. And of course, everybody has earwax. I keep mine to keep me warm in the wintertime. Don't act like you don't do earwax in your wintertime also. Everybody has them. But I really do appreciate that. Never missed a show since September 12th, 2015 when I started Big C Sports Podcast. Never ever missed a show, even through good or bad times. It's all fair and love and war. But I do want to make sure we give out that Veterans Crisis Hotline. That's why I give it out every show. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley, home with weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Universe TV. It was the first place San Francisco Giants, at least for the regular season. But it's all fair and love and war. You can reach out to them because next year I'm going to get those World Series tickets. If the Giants win it all, all's fair and love and war. I also want to say, as I say, let's get ready to rumble. I love giving it out. ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. According to Disney Corporation, no scripts, no teleprompters, nothing in my ear but earwax. And sometimes it's some really thick earwax, too. I can even use it to shine my car. It's all fair and love and war. Really appreciate that. As I tell you, everybody has something good going on. I'm looking for people who are also in the real estate. We have the real estate Big C team. The real estate app. It's not like a dating app. You can date for mortgage loans and interest rates. BigCSports.PACWM.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, the number 1 and 2 lenders in the country. On the wholesale side, it's all fair and level well. When you reach out to somebody, you want to lower your interest rate, go to the BigCSports.PACWM.com, or you can call 800-772-8624 and find out what's going on. You know, I want to also say today's show is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game on the World Series tonight, eat the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all those exotic meats. And exotic meats mean when you don't know what you're eating, but it tastes so good, you don't put it down anyway. And that's what the Big C Burger is. Hopefully, Big C Coffee's coming to a restaurant near you for the holidays, all fair and level work. You know, we have the World Series, the 2021 World Series is here. It's the pitch. Swung on, hit deep. Right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair in love and war. We have the National League champion, the Atlanta Braves. They will take on the American League champion, Houston Astros. What a great series we have. Start already underway at first pitch. First pitch is 8:09 p.m. East Coast time in the beautiful city of Houston. And we have games scheduled for Tuesday, also Wednesday at Houston. The Braves have a great team, and they're a team that had a hard time getting here. When they lost Ronald Acuna Jr., people thought the season was over. But there's a player, keep in mind, the Houston Astros and the Atlanta Braves meeting in this year's Falls Classic after knocking off the Red Sox and the Dodgers in 6 games in the league championship series. Something about the number 6. Everybody needs an arc in their life. Something about that number 6. It might be 36 innings for this game. It's all fair and love and war. Might be a 36-inning game. You heard it first on Big C Sports. But when you think about it, game 6, it took both of them to get here. The World Series begins tonight at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Thanks to all the years the Astros spent in the National League, these two clubs do have quite a bit of a postseason history. And Big C Sports is going to go down just some of that history in the postseason battles. In 1997, the Braves swept them, the Astros 3-0. Yeah, you can give that some praise if you're a Braves fan. I don't know if that's offensive or not. Some people say it is. Some people say it's not. Well, I guess it depends on the person doing the chant. Also, 1999. That's when Prince said, I'm going to party like it's 1999. The Braves won 3-1. All fair and love and war in that series. In the 2001 NLDS, the Braves swept them 3-0. In 2004, it was the NLDS. The Houston Astros won 3-2. In the 2005 NLDS, the Astros won 3-1. Give them some praise. Of course, if you're the home team, give them praise. So what happened in the late 1990s and early to mid 2000s has no bearing on what's going to happen in 2021. But like the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, he said, I'll be back. Both teams have said, I'll be back. They've all had some World Series experience. And those series were a long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. 2 different players now. And you think about it, 2 different teams, different styles of play that works. The Astros and the Braves have a postseason history, and a lot of people say, who cares about history? And some people don't care that the world is actually round. They think it's flat too. But when you think about the World Series, it began tonight. It's all fair and level. Began tonight, them good old boys. And you say a lot of people have some predictions. I mean, who knows? I think the team, I'm going to go out on a limb. You heard it first on Big T Sports. It's a best of 7. I predict the team that wins the first 4 games is going to win the World Series. Yes! How about that for going out on a limb? The team that wins the first 4 games is going to win. And some good old boys going, you think that's a good bet? If you think the team that wins the first 4 is going to win? Yeah, I think that might get it done. But it's all fair and level war. I just want to see a good series. The 2018 World Series did not have a true chaos game, though it did have an 18-inning game, the longest World Series in history. I said we're going to go 36 innings tonight. I'm just joking about that, because the number 36 is a lot. Okay, maybe they'll just go 9 innings. But 9, if you go 9 times 4, that's 36. So why not go 36 innings, right? If each game takes 9 innings to complete regulation, and you get the first team to win 4 games, that's 36 innings. I think it's funny. Some people don't get that joke, but I do. First team before to win 9 innings is 36. Oh, home run, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. All fair and level war. But when you think about it, the World Series is amazing. I remember, as I pay homage to my family, I wanted to touch on the World Series first, because when I was a young boy, I always pay homage to my family. On my mother's side, we called her Mama, my great-grandmother. She was the matriarch of the family, kept the family together, always made sure we had food in the belly, and made sure that we did everything the right way. You can't always please everybody, but she did a good job keeping food on the table. And she came up with the Big C bird. She said, what's all this exotic meat? That's what my great-grandfather said. His name was Pop, played Negro League Baseball. Give him praise. The pitch, swung on, hit deep, right field, back to wall, home run. And rumor has it he made the greatest moonshine in the history of the universe. Yeah, that's when he was a hit deep right field. All fair and level war. So, and then I want to go to my grandmother, Mud Deer. She was a seer, a business person, very intelligent, kept me out of trouble back then and also now. I really appreciate that. Some people understand what I mean by that. And my grandfather, Hezekiah, also a seer, a great business person. My mother started a Head Start program in Northern California. Also co-star Little League baseball team to the World League Championship of the universe. Give us some praise. All fair and level war. Gave me the term always rise and shine. You can't determine who's on your side. Sometimes people turn against you, but God will never turn against you. And that's all you got to understand. People change, but God doesn't, if that makes sense to you. On my father's side, the patriarch of the family is Albert Curry, was a pastor. He also said, guess who's coming to dinner? And make sure you pay the time. He also was a great businessman on True Service Station in Oakland, California. My grandmother, the matriarch of the family on my father's side, also helped establish a church. In fact, they had 2 churches and 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Really want to say, give us some praise. My father, retired Air Force mechanic and fighter pilot, and he flew fighter pilots in the United States Air Force. Give us some praise. All fair and level, where always said develop your mind to the highest extent. And then my brother Todd has the greatest voice in the history of the universe. Really appreciate that. Kind of sound like James Earl Jones. And also Sam Jackson when he said, excuse me, did I break your concentration? All fair and level war. I love paying homage to my family. And going back to this game tonight, you know, Houston comes in with this thought that they cheated. Okay, they're from Texas. If you're not cheating, you're not trying in Texas. And people know that. They're thinking, why are people so mad at us? Their parents taught them how to cheat. A lot of people know how to cheat. They just lie about it, if that makes sense to you. So when you think about the chaos that's followed the Houston Astros, it's a bold statement, but if they win tonight, there are people who won't like them no matter what. They're going to hate them no matter what, and most of these players had nothing to do with it. I think they picked the major. They got a home run when they picked the manager, Dusty Baker, to guide this team out of all the negative publicity. Everybody found a way to just hate them. There was all this talk about the Houston Astros and do they cheat? Of course, they're from Texas. They can't help it. Oh, and my college roommates, they know what that means. They were from Texas too. Always trying to give you a check that bounced. Hey man, I'll make up for it next week. Like, no, I need cash next time. Ain't no more checks to be taken in. So when I think about it, just some thoughts on Tucker's going to set the World Series stolen base. Maybe some people think You think about a Kyle Tucker, Houston right fielder, 30 years old. He batted 294 in a regular season, 92 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, and 30. The pitch, struggled, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home runs. Say hello to my little friend. Has 30 home runs. The postseason, the stolen bases to the league championship series for runners are 38 for 42 and 38 for 42 stealing bases and an incredible 90% success rate. Get that good old boy, 90% success rate. That's like Ricky Henderson. Ricky's gonna steal second. Ricky's gonna steal second. Ricky stole second. It's all fair in 11 war. So the Rays outfielder Emmanuel Margot overslid the bag in the LDS Game 3. He made it safely and just slid too far. The Astros were not a stolen base team during the regular season. Dusty counts a lot on pitching and then accurate hitting. They stole only 53 bases. That's the fourth fewest in baseball, and yet they're in the World Series. Because manager Dusty Baker knows how to manage teams, and that's what he's been doing ever since he's been part of baseball. And so when you think about it, their stolen base leader was traded at the deadline, Miles Straw, with 17. Houston's not going to surprise anybody on the bases. There's no Ricky Henderson running the bases tonight. But just because you think about people predicting who's going to win, I'm saying the Astros set a new World Series record stolen bases. The player Kyle Tucker, Jose Altuve, may seem like the more obvious choice, but he's not much of a stolen base threat anymore. Only 5 steals in 2021. And Tucker went 14 for 16 stealing bases. So keep an eye on Tucker throughout this whole World Series. All's fair in love and war. I want to go back to some guys that are Hall of Famers that stole bases in World Series. The great Lou Brock. Give Lou Brock some praise. The great Lou Brock for the Cardinals at 7 steals versus the Red Sox. And that was a 1967 World Series. Also, the great Lou Brock, he said, I'll be back. But the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, he had 7 steals versus the Detroit Tigers in the 1968 World Series. Give the great Lou Brock some praise. Several players have tied with 6 steals, most recently Kenny Lawson for Cleveland. This is for you in the 1995 World Series. 1967, people say, Charlton, how would you know this? Because I learned to read it a little bit. It's all fair level work. But when you go back 1967 and 1968 World Series, would you believe both series went 7 games, and no player has stolen even 5 bases in the World Series since Omar Vazquez in 1997. Give that good old boy some praise. 1997, the stolen base has been a dying art the last few decades, really because there's a lot of good pitching now, and pitchers are all over. They keep an eye on that first baseman, and so you can't steal the way they did in the past. I think because people are just more focused on making sure you got to earn the runs, and there are no Ricky Hendersons anyway out there, so it's less of an art than it was when the great, Lou Brock and Ricky Henderson were doing their things. Runners are 13 for 13 stealing bases against Atlanta this postseason. 13 for 13, but Houston doesn't steal a lot. So roughly 1/3 of all postseason stolen base attempts have come against them. When you think about that, that's pretty tough for Houston to overcome. But the Braves have an exploitable weakness in stolen bases, and the Astros are all about exploiting weaknesses because Dusty's such a great manager. 8 stolen bases in a postseason series, that's a lot. But it takes, you think about it, 1 and 3 or 4, when you think about it, to give Tucker a real chance at the record, he just needs 7 to tie it. I told you Lou Brock did it. 7 games, he did it. 7 stolen bases. That's amazing. It's been great, and we're going to see a lot of on bases maybe going after Brock's record. It's all fair and level war. Not everybody has an idea what this game is going to entail. But I really just want to keep an eye on some guys we know. Framber Valdez, Charlie Morton starting game 1. Beyond that, the rotations are kind of up in the air through the innings in the lineup. When you think about it, Luis Garcia versus Max Fried, game 2. And then Jose Urquidy versus Ian Anderson in game 3. What happens in game 4? Anybody can guess about that. The great Zach Greinke or Jacob Rossi for Houston. And a bullpen game for Atlanta. When things will have to go haywire, and sometimes they will do in the World Series. At some point in this series, someone's going to have to come, put their big boy pants on, and go hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Maybe a home run, it might be the best bet, especially for Houston, because they don't steal a lot of bases. When you think about Christian Javier and 3 scoreless innings in the LCS Game 4, Nathan Eovaldi and Martin Perez combined to allow 7 runs and 1 inning in the same game. It's about what team gets hot, I really think this is going to be a great series. I'm still going to say I have Houston to have liftoff. I'm going to pick Houston in 6 just because I think look at what they did when they whipped up on Boston. If their pitching's gone, you can't beat them. And Atlanta has a chance. They took out the Dodgers, but I think the Dodgers had a little help leftover because of what happened when they had the chance to play the San Francisco Giants and all the stress that came out of that series. So I'm looking forward to a great series. It's all fair and love and war. I know everybody has their own thoughts about it. And whether Houston can ever be the lovable team, can they? I think so. They have to be. Because when you think about Houston, they feel like the whole world is against them. But they're not. They have some fans in Houston that still love them. It's all fair and love and war. As for Atlanta, did they win the World Series when they beat the Dodgers? That might have been the World Series, knocking off the defending champions. But again, they have a chance. When you think about who won the 2020 World Series, that was the Dodgers. They came from behind against the Atlanta Braves in the NLCS. One of the last teams anyone wanted to face for the pennant. But now the Atlanta won Game 1. Rosario scored an early crucial run. Game 2, Rosario hit a walk-off single. And the series shifted to Los Angeles, where the Dodgers took Game 3. Rosario, predictably given his postseason the way he played, he was a star of Game 4, starting his night with a solo homer, adding a triple, a single, and then in the final inning, a 3-run homer. On the brink of elimination, the Dodgers routed Atlanta in Game 5 to extend the series so they can take that midnight train back to Georgia. Heading on the midnight train to Georgia. It's all fair and level. Now they took the midnight train to Houston. When I think about it, they had a big win over the Dodgers that were kind of spent, just my opinion. But I like this series matchup. I think it's going to be great baseball. When you think about all the great stories, it's about Hank Aaron. If you go to the ballpark in Atlanta, this was the year for Hank Aaron to have the All-Star game in Atlanta. And by the numbers, you got to think about some players that have retired numbers. Hank Aaron meant the world of baseball. Hammering Hank, the home run king, until Barry Bonds showed up and started eating more spinach. Ate more spinach than Hank Aaron, so therefore he won the he won the home run championship of the universe because he ate more spinach. And for those of you that laugh at that, Barry Bonds never tested positive for steroids. That's just a fact. But I want to talk about some numbers in Major League Baseball that you won't see if you know much about baseball history. You could probably guess that the 10 uniform numbers retired by Atlanta. Of course, Hammering Hank is one of them. But Atlanta, you got number 3 for Dale Murphy, and then who won the Most Valuable Player award twice as he carried the team through the 1980s. And then 9 Hall of Famers, the great Bobby Cox. And then Chipper Jones was Bobby Cox, number 6. Chipper Jones, number 10. You have Warren Spahn at number 21. John Smoltz, 29. Grant Maddox, number 31. That's retired. Phil Nicaro, 35. Eddie Matthews, 41. And then Hammering Hank and Tom Glavine. Hammering Hank, 44. Tom Glavine, 44. But Hammering Hank, just a class of a gentleman. They may even have a moment of silence for Hammering Hank when they go back to Atlanta. All fair and level work. For the Astros, in their honor Hall of Fame retired jerseys, the Houston Astros have 6 players, not as much as the 10 that you have with Atlanta, but the Houston Astros have 6 players that are not in the Hall of Fame besides Jeff Bagwell, number 5, Craig Biggio, number 7, the great Nolan Ryan, number 34. Give Nolan Ryan some praise. Give that good old boy some praise, a flamethrower Jedi Knight. And when you think about it in Cooperstown, Houston keeps all those numbers out of circulation. Number 24, Jimmy Wynn. And number 25, Jose Cruz. Number 32 is Jim Umbrick, actually. Number 33, Mike Scott. Number 40, Don Wilson. Number 49, Larry Jaker. And then Jackie Robinson, of course, the great Jackie Robinson, number 42, is retired for all of Major League Baseball. Give them all some praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. Really love what's going on in the world of Major League Baseball. I wish them all nothing but the best. And I know everybody has their own opinion about who's going to win this series. I'm going to go Houston. They have the home field advantage, and I think they'll do fine enough to win it in 6 games. If Atlanta wins, most likely to go to 7. I say that just because they had the advantage against the Dodgers, and it's still with the 6, with a team that had played a playoff game against the Cardinals, a one-game playoff. Dodgers won that. They played a 5-game series, and they won it in Game 5 in San Francisco. They got on the midnight train to Georgia. And took the midnight train to Georgia right after an exhausting game against the Giants in Game 5 up at Oracle Ballpark in San Francisco. And they took the midnight train to Georgia. And so they were a little bit tired. You ever take a train 3,000 miles or 2,500? And it still took Atlanta 6 games to win. Houston's rested. Atlanta has to take that midnight train to Georgia. And they got to take it to Houston. So that's why Houston's going to be a little bit more rested like Atlanta was last time. That's no guarantee. But the odds are on their side that they'll find a way to get it done. There's another player I want to keep in mind. George Soler for the Atlanta Braves. He's a right fielder, and he's at batting .223, 74 runs. He had 27. The pitch, swung on here deep, right field, back to the wall, home runs. Say hello to my little friend. 27 home runs, but he has 70 RBIs. Soler missed the first 4 games of the NLCS after testing positive for COVID-19. So he has a little bit more rest in his legs. Did not start Game 5 or 6 because Adam Duvall and Jock Peterson, as well as Eddie Rosario, were playing so well in the World Series. Now the Braves, I'm telling you, this is something that this team can put their hitch on. They are not supposed to be there anyway. I talk about the midnight train to Georgia. They're the little engine that could. Okay? Keep that in mind. I don't know who's going to win this game, but the fact that Dusty Baker was there with the Giants back in early part of the 2000s, and they had the Giants playing in Los Angeles, actually Anaheim, against the Anaheim Angels, and they had the lead going into the 7th inning, and some things happened, and they had the rally, and the rally came back for the Anaheim Angels, and that's been sticking to Dusty's cross since then. I think Dusty's done. He's taken the Giants to the playoffs, took the Cubs to the playoffs. We all feel bad about the young gentleman, the Chicago fan that reached out and grabbed the ball when they were playing against Florida back in the day, now the Miami Marlins. And then when you think about what happened, he took Cincinnati to the playoffs. Everywhere Dusty goes, he dusts up a storm. He's a dust up a storm, the great Dusty Baker. I think he'll dust up a storm in this series as well. So it's all fair and level war. It's the best of 7, starting tonight at Minute Maid Park, already underway. I don't give out scores because I don't want my prop betting fans to be mad at me. Are the guys down in Las Vegas? It's all fair and love and war. So may the best team win. The pitch, swung on here deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and love and war, and everybody needs a little friend. I want to go to Seattle where they love the rain. Blame it on the rain. Was that Milli Vanilli? He said, blame it on the rain. The crowd at Lumen Field. Seattle's winless at home. That's really being sleepless in Seattle. That used to be a place, when they called it Quest Field, that they never had a doubt. They lose a game to the New Orleans Saints, and it's 13-10. A deluge of rain. Wasn't great playing conditions for any team in the National Football League. You would think that at some point in time, the league might say, wait a minute, the weather's so bad, we don't want to take a chance on anybody suffering an injury, but there's so much money being made in the world of NFL football. They don't postpone games. And sometimes for players, you love playing in that type of condition, especially if you get to play in the game and you're not on the sideline just watching. It's all fair and love and war. So I love bringing that. This is Big C Sports covering the Major League Baseball. Give it some praise. The pitch, 12 on here deep, right field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and love and war. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, I'm going to just touch a little bit on the NFL football that happened. Or was it a rainstorm? Was it a football or a rainstorm? Whatever it was wet. In the words of the former California governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on a beautiful October the 26th, 2021. Grounded the Deportes, Bonjour, the Bitty Bitty Beach. It's all fair and labor. Bienvenido to Big C Sports. I'm going to just tell you that game last night in Seattle, I've never seen Seattle lose at home so many close games. There was just no offense by either team. And I know they're without touchdown, Russell Houdini Wilson. Players got to play through injuries, and it just makes you wonder, you know, Pete Carroll's 70 years old. He has a lot of energy, but he has a team that he has to rebuild now. Will he be up to the task of trying to rebuild, or will they just blow up the Legion of Boom and try to start anew? As some people say, that crowd is amazing, and they've had so much great football over the years. I actually had Seattle winning that game, and they would have had to score one more touchdown. But you got to give the Saints credit. Touchdown, Jameis Winston. It came across the country, and he was well enough to win. Also, Geno Smith won a game for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, I love football, but that was really tough to watch last night because the weather was so bad, and players just were like playing not to have turnovers. But congratulations, Sean Payton comes into Seattle and leaves them sleepless in Seattle. It's all fair and level. That's what it takes when a field goal kicker can kick a 33-yard field goal and win the game, especially on the road. Some NHL hockey standings in the NHL Eastern Conference. Atlanta, in the Atlantic Division, you have the Florida is up top, followed by Buffalo, Detroit, and Boston. That's the top four. In the Metropolitan, in the Eastern Conference, you have the Rangers, followed by Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Washington. I'm going to take it over to the Western Conference, and you have in the Central Division, St. Louis is on top, followed by Minnesota, and then Dallas, as well as Winnipeg. And then in the Great Pacific Division, where the rain is wetter in the Pacific Ocean. In the Pacific Division, you have Edmonton atop the pack, followed by San Jose, Vancouver, and Calgary. It's great how hockey is on ice, skating on thin ice with all the flair of hockey. Tonight's game, Calgary is playing at the Devils at 7 o'clock, already underway. Tampa Bay is at Pittsburgh. Vegas is at Colorado. I don't know if they can even watch the Avalanche on television in Colorado. San Jose is at Nashville. Minnesota is at Vancouver. Montreal is at Seattle. Man, they were sleepless in Seattle last night for the Seahawks. And then Winnipeg's at Anaheim. They're going to go play on the ice instead of going to see Mickey Mouse at Disneyland. It's all fair and level war. So I wish them all fair and level war on the ice, and may the ice be with you like the May the 4th be with you. It's all fair and level war. I'm going to touch on some NBA basketball. Are you ready for some basketball? If you don't like NBA basketball, you need to watch more games. It's all fair and level war. I know it's early in the season. People say, how do you count the Big C's power rankings early in the season? It's just a small sample size of baseball, and then a small sample size with the World Series tonight. Obviously, that will take a lot of TV screens with Houston at home versus Atlanta. NHL hockey, I mean, we're going to get into the swing of things after we finish up the World Series. But NBA is strong, NFL football strong, so hockey is going to be a distant third when you think about it. The Chicago Bulls, Charlotte Hornets, two teams that missed the Eastern Conference playoffs last season. Can you believe those good boys are off to an undefeated start? Think about that. Beating up the Brooklyn Nets in the home opener Sunday. New York Knicks fans already calling for a championship run after a season-opening double overtime win over the Boston Celtics at Madison Square Garden. Isn't that something? In the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Lakers finally got a win, the first win of the season. Give them some praise. Give them good boys some praise. Overcoming the great Ja Morant, dropping 40 points. The great Ja Morant on Sunday night behind Steph Curry and Golden State Warriors off to a 3-0 start. Them good boys are playing good basketball and sitting, I guess you're dropping threes on the dock of the bay. Watching Steph Curry shoot away. Ooh, you're gonna hitting threes on the dock of the bay. Steph Curry's not wasting time. Enough already. I told you, ESPY dominated. Number one in the Big C NBA basketball universe. The defending world champion Milwaukee Bucks. Give them good boys some praise. Give them praise. In fact, this segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. Last I checked, a buck is exotic. Venison's good as long as you get it at the right time. Don't let it sit overnight in the field and then go get it the next day. So opening night win against the Nets. Kyrie Irving, aside deciding he doesn't want to get vaccinated. That's between him and his family. Some people say he has. Some people say he has not. That's a personal decision, and no one should be forced to say if they did or did not. That could be a HIPAA violation. But the Bucks, think about this. The defending NBA champions, king King Giannis Antetokounmpo. I edify him properly. King Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know mainstream hates calling black men kings, but all life came from Africa. You can Google that. They made a statement. They got by Brooklyn to start the season. 32 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists from King Giannis Antetokounmpo. Injuries depleted the Bucks rotation early, but Drew Holiday and their Rodney Hood, they had a great game. Great Brook Lopez, San Joaquin Memorial Finest has back soonest and missed at least, Monday against Indiana. But I'm going to give right now until someone knocks them off the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. The Big T Burger is a tasty burger and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. And they all go crazy for the Big T Burger. You think the crowd was big outside of the stadium when they beat the Phoenix Suns, and imagine how big the crowd is for the Big T Burger. They know it's a tasty burger. They know it comes with exotic meat. I'm going to go to number 2, the Utah Jazz. Hassan Whiteside, former maximum contract big man who joined the Jazz for the minimum. Off to a pretty good start. Rudy Gobert is back up. At total 14 points, 19 rebounds, and 3 blocks. And 34 minutes in the first 2 games, Utah scored his opponent by 19 with Whiteside on the floor. Give that good old boy some praise. He deserves it. I'm going to swing to number 3. I know people might say, what do you mean 3? Well, I just got to do it. The Denver Nuggets, Michael Malone has to be pleased with how his team started the season. Without Jamal Murray, the Nuggets have not given up more than 98 points. Give that defense a praise. First 2 games, both wins over the Suns and Spurs. Reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, the Joker, picked up where he left off. He looks like he's a little bit better in shape now, averaging 30 points a game, actually 29.5. But they don't give you half points. Give him 30 points a game, 14.5 rebounds, Michael Porter Jr. Making 15 rebounds. They don't give you half anything. Not like a half a sack at the NFL. Michael Porter Jr. is off to a slow start. Just 22.7 rebounds through his first 2 games. Now I'm going to go. I'm kind of torn by this, but I'll say but. It's just my opinion. The Brooklyn Nets, number 4. Give them praise. Slow start to the season. Brooklyn not having the great Kyrie Irving on the floor, but it's a start to the season they didn't expect. Coach Steve Nash said as much in how he's handling the rotations. James Harden, who's a flame shooter, he said after Sunday's loss to Charlotte that he's feeling his way into the season after a long offseason recovering from a hamstring. A lot of guys pull hamstrings. That's not funny, but they do pull them. It's better than pulling a groin, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to go number 5, the Splash Brothers, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching 3-pointers sail away. Ooh, they're just sitting on the dock of the bay. Curry's not wasting time. I like that. You can laugh all you want. But everything's working right now for Steph Curry's group. I love his last name, Charlton Curry. Charlton Curry for a 3! Yes! I tried to sneak onto the floor. They said, hey, get off the court. I said, but my last name's Curry. They said, no. If I could shoot 3s like that, they'd keep me on the court. So Curry and the good old boys, the Warriors, come out to play. They head into the week 3-0. Curry continues to shine as he starts toward his 3rd MVP, the only unanimous MVP the league has ever had, dropping 45 points last Thursday in the win over the Clippers. Has a lot of confidence, a deep group that's getting a lot of contributions down the roster. Veteran Benjamin Bjelica, Andre Iguodala, the great Andre Iguodala is back on the tour doing his thing. Damian Lee gives Steve Kerr a nice look off the bench. Jordan Poole continues to pick his game up also. Number 6, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. The Miami Heat, number 6 in Big Three's NBA top 30. The Heat started off strong. They beat up on the Bucks to open the season. They faded an overtime loss to the Pacers last Saturday. The good news from Miami is that they have Tyler Hero. He's found his groove back. He says, bienvenido on Miami, now go home. Has 57 points combined in Miami's first 2 wins. I really like what they're doing. Jimmy Butler doing his thing. Bam Adebayo, them good boys. Number 7, I know there's issues about Ben Simmons, whether they want him there or not. It's all going to work out whether he stays or goes. But Philadelphia 76ers, give the great Doc Rivers some praise. Philadelphia had a bad final 5 minutes against Brooklyn and away from a 3-0 weekly start. Now, the thing I like about the 76ers is without Ben Simmons, they remain that they're still going to be aggressive. The great Joel Embiid is healthy and available. If he's healthy, then Philly's going to get the Big T Burger. It's a tasty burger. It comes with what's all of it? Exotic meat. Throw away those Philly cheesesteak. Eat the Big T Burger. It has a lot more meat in it. Where's the beef? Anyone want to know where's the beef? It has a lot of beef. Number 8, the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't laugh at me. You say the Lakers. I know they haven't started out strong, but the great Carmelo Anthony, 19-year veteran, moved up to number 9 on the NBA's all-time scoring list. Had an impressive showing, dropping 28 points. That's off the bench. That's enough for 28 Big C burgers. I thought he was going to score 36 points, but 28 is close enough. 36 points would have been better, including 2 free throws to ice the game, beat Memphis for LA's first win of the season. Again, John Morant dropping 40. It kind of upshades the performance by the Lakers' 19-year veteran. They climb into the NBA's number 9 all-time scoring list. And speaking of the Big C burgers, the tasty burger trouble that's got it meets the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks. Number 9 in Big C's NBA top 10. Cam Reddish picked up where he left off during Atlanta's postseason run. 4 playoff games. He was 9 of 14 for 3-point range. 4 threes. Give that good away praise. Averaged 13 points per game. Starting the season, the third-year players 6 for 9 from downtown, averaging 20 points per game, and that's going to help the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks. Number 10, here now, your Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. It's hard. Michael Jordan retired. Oh, my producer gave me some he gave me some old stats. That's why I say you should eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what all the exotic meat. Last I checked, a bowl is part of the exotic meat. And our burgers are fresh. But Malcolm sent me this stat. Thank you, Malcolm, all over it. The new look Chicago Bulls, they got off to a great start. 3-0 for the first time, 2016-17 season. Also, the last time they made the playoffs, their offense still had some clutch moments. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, all have, give those good up some praise. They all played great. They've been faster than expected defensively, and led by Ball and Alex Caruso. They're a really good team. Opening portion of the schedule was soft. They faced the Pistons twice without Cade Cunningham. The Pelicans without the great Zion Williamson. The opponents are going to get tougher this week. They have the Knicks and the Jazz. But hey, Chicago hasn't had that kind of success since Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Or is that Bulls? You got enough moonshine in your stomach. It's like, Chicago Bulls. Come on. Terry Chase should have done basketball. He probably did back in the day. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Number 11 in Big C's NBA power rankings. The New York Knickerbockers. Think about it. It's a trend for the Knicks. Kemba Walker, who went in 36 in New York's double overtime, went 22-19 respectively. In a pair of games against Orlando, he and Derrick Rose spent a lot of time alternating at point guard. Derrick Rose is still doing his thing, but anytime Madison Garden, MSG, has basketball and they're winning, you can bet that Spike Lee will be sitting there in a zoot suit. All for and more. Number 12 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Phoenix Suns. Wow, what a game. Chris Paul back at it. I know, don't look at the record. Chris Paul became the first player in NBA history with 20,000 career points. Give us a praise. Okay, I'm joking, but they said they choked last year in the playoffs. They didn't choke. They just lost to a better team in Milwaukee when they got figured out. They didn't choke at all. That's just a joke. But they got a little bit, the heat was turned up too high. But Chris Paul, like a good neighbor, Chris Paul is there. First player in NBA history with 20,000 career points and 10,000 career assists. Like a good neighbor, Chris Paul is there. Notched the point total against the Lakers on Friday. Paul became the 47th player in NBA basketball history to hit 20,000 points while he picked up his 10,000 assists. That's amazing. Give that good boy some praise. Like a good neighbor and like Big C Sports, Chris Paul is there. All is from Dallas Mavericks, the good boys. The Mavericks offense sputtered in the first 6 quarters of the season. Jason Kidd tried to figure out how to lessen the load on the great Luka Doncic. Despite Dallas' failure to add a playmaker to the offseason, Dallas scored 58 points, 52% shooting from the second half in the win over the weekend versus Toronto. In a proven approach, they have to spread the floor. Luka Doncic can do his thing. Don't complain as much about not getting the foul call I remember Jason Kidd when he played at St. Joseph Notre Dame Alameda High School in California, won 2 state championships, took Cal Berkeley to the Sweet 16. That's the last time the Bears have been back. That's Jason Kidd that did that. All fair and level war. And the Nets took them to the NBA Finals. They lost to the Lakers and also won a championship with the Dallas Mavericks back in the day. And now he's back in the saddle, all fair with the owner, Mark Cuban. I want to go Charlotte, number 14 in Big Six NBA power rankings. A great start for Charlotte. They got up to a 3-0 start. A win over Kevin Durant, that's worth praising itself. Give them the praise. They stung them. So the Nets on Sunday. LaMelo Ball at 48 points, 13 assists, and 12 rebounds. Give that good about some praise. Give them praise. 7 steals over the first 3 games. The Hornets have an interesting showdown. Jimmy Butler, the Heat, coming up Friday. It's all fair and level. A game that should be a lot of telltale sign about who's going to go where. I want to bring it to Memphis. Not for the moonshine. Oh, don't be disappointed, guys. Not for the moonshine. The great John Morant picked up where he left off. The guy is brilliant. In the playoffs, he did his thing last year, averaging 35 points, 8 assists in the season's first week. Give him some praise. Get up one for praise. When you think about it, D'Anthony Melton also impressed. Morant's the backcourt partner. Memphis starting to average about 18 points while shooting 52% from the floor and 58% for a three-point range. For 3! That's Steph Curry numbers. They have a great team of shooters' chance. I'm going to go number 16, the Washington Wizards. When you think about it, they got out to a 2-0 start. Bradley Beal looks like he was a veteran he needs a veteran around him. I mean, he would like to have, it's all fair and level where I don't want to keep him here forever. I feel like they're going to slip during the season. General Manager Tommy Shepard added depth. Spencer Dinwiddie, that's going to help them a lot. 34 points, 9 assists, lead Washington in the overtime win over Indiana. The great Michael Jackson going back to Indiana, where I come. So Andrew Beal, a hip injury. Kyle Kuzma dropped 18 points, 13 rebounds through 2 games. The Wizards, they look to stay healthy. If they can stay healthy, I think they're going to be okay. I'm going to go out to the great Pacific Northwest where it rains almost every day. Chauncey Billups era didn't get off to a great start. The Blazers introduced him with all the garbage in his background. Maybe that took him out of some focus. Sacramento Kings got a win to start the season. But when you think about it, they'll get their groove back. Think about this. A 134-105 rout of the Phoenix. Come on. That was not expected. Give us a praise. Norman Powell left that game with a knee injury. And then McCollum is averaging 31 points in 2 games. Might have been even more with Powell as out. It's all fair and level war. I know Portland's going to be okay with Dollar Dame. They're not going to go far in the playoffs. If they even get to the playoffs this year. It's time for Dollar Dame to say there's no place like home. Come back to Oakland. Come back to Oakland. They got enough money, Silicon Valley, they figured out. Number 18 in Big East NBA Power Rankings, the LA Clippers. Don't look at the record. Paul George off to a hot start, including 41-point performance against the Grizzlies on Saturday. Give him praise. To the great Paul George pick, Lancaster's Antelope Valley's finest. The Clippers 0-2 started not as good as people thought. Losses to Memphis and losses to Golden State. They played Golden State close. A lot of people are going to lose to Golden State. I'm taking Golden State to win the rest this year. And that's when they get the Splash Brothers together, with Thompson coming back joining Curry. Eric Bledsoe's been better than expected. The Clippers are going to fight hard every night. Tyronn Lue will make sure of that. They don't have Kawhi Leonard, so it's all about Paul George. And it's just about him and the supporting cast. Number 19, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. Number 19, the Boston Celtics, the great Johnny Boys, Boston Celtics. India Duca picked up his first victory of the career Sunday over the Houston Rockets. But the bigger note, that's my great Johnny Moss. The bigger note from the win over Houston, Jaylen Brown's absence with a tendinopathy in his left knee. And then everybody has to overcome something. Boston will be helping Brown. Also missed most of the training camp, tested positive for COVID-19. And it's just a matter of how they get things back together. But when you think about it, on the court quickly after 46-point outburst, the season opener, over the Knicks, they'll be fine. Number 20, Big C's NBA Power Rankings. The Big Cat, Minnesota Timberwolves are among the leagues unbeaten after the first week, taking care of business. Every day they were taking care of business. The Rockets and Pelicans, without King Zion Williamson behind some tough defense, the competition gets a lot tougher. In a week, the Bucks and the Nuggets are coming to town. And the Bucks and Nuggets are brought by the Big C Burgers, a tasty burger. Because this is always exotic meat. Now, Bucks, we know is exotic meat. Is a nugget gold or is it a chicken nugget from KFC or McDonald's? Either way, it's a double entendre. It comes with exotic meat. After the first two games, the Pacers finally got the groove back. Stella got the groove back against the Heat. 1 and 2. I think about this team, Indiana. They're a good team. They'll be okay. Early performance by Chris Duarte. And it looks like he belongs after averaging 20 points per game. Shot 40% from the field and 46% from three. Give that boy some praise in his first week. Number 22. Big C's NBA power rankings is all fair level are the Toronto Raptors. I'm going back to Canada. We love you, Canada. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. They love the Big C Burger in Canada. When you think about rookie Scotty Barnes officially arrived 25 points, 13 rebounds in Toronto's blowout win over Boston on Friday. They've been giving them praise. While the Raptors roster, speaking of exotic meats, it's a tasty burger that comes with all the exotic meat. Rumor has it there's some meat that tastes like Raptor meat on the Big C Burger. I can't confirm or deny it, but I don't sample all the meat. I don't sample all the meat. So while the Raptors roster doesn't have the high ceiling it's been accustomed to in recent years, I think Toronto they got a good chance to get back to the good side of winning as Canadians' only team all friend level. Number 23, Big C's NBA power rankings. Number 23 is the Sacramento Kings. If they can stop turning the ball over, they'll be fine. They got a big win against the Portland Trailblazers, and they had the turnover bug bite them against Utah and Golden State. So outside, when you think about it, Harrison Barnes averaging 28 points. He's playing like an MVP for the Kings, even though I still think Aaron Fox is the best player. 10 rebounds per game through the first 3 of the season. He's been impressive, but the Kings dropped 2 of the first 3. Of course, when you play Golden State and Utah, you're going to drop some games. But they were in both of those games. You just can't have turnovers down the stretch. It's all fair and level. San Antonio Spurs. Number 24, Big C's NBA power rankings. 3 different players have led the team in scoring each of the 3 games. Devin Vessel, 19 in the opener against Orlando. Keldon Johnson, 27 against Denver on Friday. And Doug McDermott, 25 against Milwaukee, the defending champions over the weekend. Johnson leads the team with 21 points per game. They got to get their groove back. It's all fair and level. Number 25, Cleveland. This is for you. Cleveland Cavaliers, number 25 in Big C's NBA power rankings. Think about this. They had 11-point losses to Memphis and also Charlotte. Cleveland got the W with a win last season over Eastern Conference Finalists Atlanta. Rookie Evan Mobley. When you think about it, last season surprised the Eastern Conference Atlanta. Rookie Evan Mobley, 17 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks, already showing signs of promise as a project. Cleveland, this is for you to take from number 3, all fair level. Number 26 in Big C's NBA power rankings, the Houston Rockets. Houston, we have liftoff. Number 2 overall pick, Jalen Green, held to 9 points in each of the Rockets' first 2 games. But the explosive scoring ability was on display doing a 30-point performance. Give it the praise, 30 points, dropping 30 points in the loss to the Celtics. He was 8 of 10 from 3 in that game and finished 1, made 3-point shot of time the NBA rookie record. Give us some praise. As a rookie coming out playing with that type of moxie, I like that. Number 27, Pelican. This is brought by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger that comes with, what's all this exotic meat? That's a Harris. A Pelican is exotic meat. In 3 losses, New Orleans bench struggled to provide his starters with scoring punch. The bench averaged like just 18 points per game. That's the worst in the league through the first week. That included some bad mop-up time and the first two contests. Number 28, I'm going to Disney World. You want to go to Disney World? Or do you want to see Orlando Magic play? The Magic earned a surprising win over the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks were very surprised. If people did not break the concentration, they were very surprised at Madison Square Garden. And in large part, an impressive performance, second-year guard Cole Anthony. Get the great Cole Anthony, New York native, dropped 29 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists, and a 110-104 win. Markelle Fultz, ACL rehab, still out, and their rookie Jalen Suggs is trying to find his rhythm. Anthony has a good chance to make his mark in the short term. It's all fair and level war. Number 29, the Detroit Bad Boys. They are bad. They are bad. Without Cade Cunningham, has an ankle injury, hitting his giddy up. The Pistons dropped their first 2 games of the season, both against the Chicago Bulls, looking competitive in the first game, home game, before getting blown out in the second game. Chicago, Cunningham's going to be a reason that helps them play. There's a chance the number 1 overall pick could play in his first game when the team returns home in the weekend. It's all fan level. Number 30 at Big C's NBA Power Rankings, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You want Thunder? Well, the Thunder is really lightning off there in Leavenworth. Rebuilding the Thunder lost 29 of their past 32 games dating back to March. 22 of those losses came by double-digit margins, including 3 games this season. Oklahoma City starting 4 players who are 23 years of age or younger. Give the young people some praise. Give them praise, 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 praise. It's all fair in Leavenworth. I love what's going on in the world of NBA basketball. It's a short start of the season, but it's just a start. There's a short start of the season. We have the World Series tonight. Game 1 is already underway down in the beautiful Houston, Texas. Give all those good boys some praise. NBA basketball playing tonight. NHL playing. There's a lot of good things happening. College football coming up too over the weekend. It's all fair in Leavenworth. Some of the things about the world going on in the NFL, I know people don't want to hear much more about what's going to happen with the emails that came out, because there are talks about the league needs to figure out, what's going to go on with the NFL. And I just want to make sure I run down what's going on in the NBA. The 76ers at the New York Knicks. The Warriors at the Thunder. The Lakers are taking on the Spurs. We have the Houston Rockets at Milwaukee. The Denver Nuggets at the Jazz. And those are some big games on tap. And I already covered the NHL hockey with the Flames at the Devils. The Lightning at the Penguins. And then you also have the Golden Knights at the Avalanche. I still don't know if they can see the Avalanche on TV in Denver, Colorado. The Sharks are at the Predators, all fair in Leavenworth. And then the Wild are taking on the Canucks. And may everybody have the very best of success when it comes to all of the sports being played. If you can get a ticket, go see a game. Take your family, take your friends. It's all fair in Leavenworth. I just want to touch on one thing as we close out today's show on Big C Sports on a beautiful October the 26th, 2021. All fair in Leavenworth. Anyone having a birthday out there, may God bless you with health, wealth, and wisdom. It's all fair in Leavenworth. So when you think about it, the content of sports is a billion-dollar industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. They give it praise all over the world, and I really appreciate being a part of the sports universe. That's why I want to make sure I give out things that are important to me. Also, there's a few things that we got to clean up. The Texans chairman apologizes for anti-Asian remarks. People are getting on John Gruden. Think about what's going on with the Texans. All right? We got so much where racism, some people feel that they can do it and they can get away with it because oftentimes it's set behind closed doors. I say put their name out in the press. If you're proud of it, at least put it on your forehead and tell people what you feel. It's all fair in Leavenworth. So hopefully they will get out of that. And the Blackhawks report that President Bowman resigns. So that's something that's going on too. I mean, teams go through changes. Wide receiver Lazard joins Adams on the Packers COVID-19 list. That puts their game in jeopardy against the Arizona Cardinals down in the desert on Thursday. We'll see what happens if that. LeBron James has an ankle. He's out for Tuesday. His day-to-day vocal says. Coach Tomlin for the Pittsburgh Steelers, don't go. Stay in Pittsburgh. He's never had a losing record. The fact that they have been banged up and they're a 500 team now, that shows you how consistent Mike Tomlin's been. And he was upset with the media saying, quit talking to me about that. I'm here with the Steelers, and they're trying to win their football games, especially in their tough division. It's all fair in Leavenworth. I hate bringing this up, but I always say there's no excuse for racism or domestic violence in anyone's life, whether it's verbal or text or in person. No one deserves the right to do that. Anyone threatening you by text messages or verbally or especially physically, pick up the phone and file a police report. Sometimes the people already have a record. Okay, so do that. Don't let anyone intimidate you, your children, your spouse, anybody, your parents. Call the police and see how tough they sound then as they start crying. retired expatriate safety. You know, Chung is charged with assault. I hate that. But no one should ever have to go through that garbage. If he did it, pay the price. But my heart bleeds for people who go through intimidation and people trying to threaten them. No one should ever put up with that garbage. Pick up the phone and call 911. All fair and level. I hate ending on that story. I'm going to say back to college football. Coach Franklin, the future with Penn State is not a distraction to the team. He's going to stay at Penn State. If he goes to USC, I say go get Nick Saban. If not, just go ahead and get Lynn Swann. Let him coach the USC Trojans. Or go get Tim McDonald. Go get Marcus Allen. Get Ronnie Lott. Look at what Deion Sanders did at Jackson State. Look at Eddie George at Tennessee State. Go get Ronnie Lott or Marcus Allen. They could definitely recruit some players that will listen to him. Tim McDonald. Look at Anthony Munoz. Get Anthony Munoz. Go out and get some players and just bring some young players in that the young guys understand. They're not used to someone who looks like a grandfather coming in to recruit them. Unless it's someone like Nick Saban. It's all fair, number one. I wish everybody nothing but the best. We have a good World Series. And everyone, please be safe. Don't let people drink and drive. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He is known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. With all you get to use, how can you lose? With all those exotic meats, how do you stay so light on your feet? Ali said, I'm young, I'm pretty. With all these exotic meats, I can't possibly compete. That's why I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. The Dixie Burger makes me rumble, young man, rumble. It's all fair, another word. My beautiful mother always says that's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child belongs to that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. That's why we always tell you on every Big G Sports show. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.